Is it actually possible to pass data, callback, from mpld3 to ipython? There is a lot of amazing possibilities to create animated pictures using mpld3. However, it seems that all the moving parts are responsibility of JavaScript. Moreover, there are lots of requests on the internet and Stack Overflow where people directly ask for that possibility. Retrieve data from dynamic mpld3 plot in Python. Get point information after dragging. How to dump points selected with the linked brush plugin for mpld3. mpld3 select points and get their coordinates. With references therein, but all the answers are wrong, since they propose to use some kind of alerts or captions. The second link is, however, most interesting, since it suggests to add some HTML form and push the button to send the data to server Python from the client JavaScript. There is another interesting notebook. This URL, which is mentioned by many people as a source of inspiration, it saves the output configuration, the HTML file. Maybe this hard disk exchange can be used to proceed this information further by Python. Moving further, I discovered ipywidgets, with plenty of examples and even possibilities of true interaction client-server. Essentially, we may start from basic sliders and buttons, but then we see that some more complex packages are built on this basis, mainly plot, and some other inherited packages. What I want is just to drag and drop some points on the picture, and then pass them to ipython to make some further plots. It is very complicated and definitely can't be moved to JavaScript. But it seems that despite the team of plotters done a huge work, you can use only some predefined set of interactions, so the drag and drop behavior is again not included. When I tried, not very deeply, to enter the source code of mpld3 and modify it and possibly merge with ipywidgets, I encountered that many things are deprecated. The code evolves really fast, which doesn't accord to the existing examples in the internet. Most popular ones are very old, and inquiries are also very old. So I couldn't do anything because of the mess. Many examples fail because of lack of backward compatibility. Summary. I would be glad if anyone provided some way to drag and drop points and to pass their coordinates to Python, but which could be more helpful, is the ability to pass information from mpld3 in a more abstract manner, so that other cases can be included.
Almost a year has passed since the question has been asked. Well, the answer is not about mpld3, but I don't stick to that particular technology. The user at Drew suggested to use plot, so I post a link to a related notebook. This URL. From Bloomberg. If you open this, I recommend to find the link in the top right corner which redirects you to external and viewer with pictures. Almost everything is contained there. I just tried to reproduce a minimalistic working example. Note that in order to launch a Jupyter notebook with extension plot, as well as some ipywidgets, you may need to do some kind of magic to make it work. You need to be familiar with some bash commands like Jupyter install and extension and Jupyter and extension enable. I personally had to struggle with plot for a couple of hours to make it work. But this is clearly a separate issue. Let's do a trial attempt to launch the function observe. The test function my_callback ... just prints the events. You obtain a nice plot like this, with additional capability to drag points. Once you drag a point, you observe a printed list of changes which is a Python structure, each event on a separate line. I admit that the structure is a bit tricky to decompose, but after some careful glancing, we note that the bold line has name equal to underscore property underscore lock, then the new substructure contains the fields x and y, which is Unicode for x and y. Then you can track these changes and accordingly run some Python code inside the function my underscore callback ... You can even draw something inside this plot, or create a new one, etc. Surprisingly, this somehow works, and with New Jupyter you can even save the notebook with widgets, which is completely mind-blowing.
You can do this with the new plot scatter and label. Both of them have an enable underscore move parameter, that when you set to true they allow points to be dragged. Furthermore, when you drag you can observe a change in the x or y value of the scatter or label and trigger a Python function through that, which in turn generates a new plot. Is that clear?
This also isn't mpld3, but here's a quick example of using plot in a Jupyter notebook, inspired by Sergey's comment/question at is it actually possible to pass data, callback, from mpld3 to ipython? And Sergey's and Drew's answers. First, install plot in an Anaconda environment and open a notebook. Then paste this adjustable, interactive scatterplot code in the first block. Then, after the plot appears, click and drag a data point or two around, and in the next block look at the changes within the plot. I had thought the callback stuff in this URL was required, but you only need that if you want to trigger some code on the modifications. For that, try something like then changes on the x, y coordinates trigger foo and change the global variable data. You'll see foo's printed output appended to the first block's output, and the updated data will be available to future blocks of code.
mpld3